Welcome to Knickknack's Corner. Today I'm going to talk to you about maybe my favorite book I've read this year so far, and that is Ring Shout by Djeli Clark. Ring Shout was phenomenal. So good, I read it twice. The first time around, I wasn't into it as much as I wanted to be, and it was because they use a language in there of like, I'm not sure what it's called, but it would be like the 1920s style of language for black people, and there's a lot of talking with it, and it's spelled out that way, so you actually have to sit there and sound out the words, and I didn't do that the first time around. I just kind of read them as what I thought they would be and moved on, and so I felt like I lost a bunch of stuff the first time around. So the second time around, I sat down and I took 3 days to read it as opposed to the 1 day the first time. And it was so good the first time around that I read it in a single day, in a single sitting, so that should say something. But the second time around, I gave it time, I sounded things out loud, and I truly, absolutely loved it. And the story is just so phenomenal. And I think that if you haven't heard of this book, and you haven't read it, that perhaps you should go check it out. It's really well done. It's about a woman, black woman, who has a magical sword that sings with all of her ancestors' voices. And they do shouts. And the shouts is to ward off demons and evil spirits and things like that. In town, there are clansmen, but only the Ku Kluxes are demons. So her, Sadie, and Chef decide to take on the Ku Klux Klan, and it's 1922. So you got to think about this, because they also have like Nana Jean and some aunties in here as well. In 1922, a 60-year-old black person would have been born into slavery. 1922, that was only 100 years ago, which means slavery has only been abolished for like 160 years, less, probably. And so at looking at that, it's very interesting to see the type of world that these people are living in. And I feel like Djeli Clark did a wonderful job at showing their hardships, at showing the things that they had to go through with the lynchings and the mobs and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, it also shows that the people in the story, the heroines, are doing everything they can to make the world right. And it's a very interesting commentary on even today's social settings that we have. And I feel like he does a phenomenal job at also entwining a lot of history, because that's another thing I did in between my two reads. Was my first read through, I kind of got it. The second read through, I got it because I went and I did a little bit of research about what things were like at that time. I did a little bit of research into what ring shouts are, and I did a little bit of like reading into what their gods are, their the bras, like Bra Rabbit and Bra Bear and all that sort of stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a very well-crafted literary story, and I feel like Djeli Clark just knocked it out of the park. Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but here we are. I know it's a crime. We're just gonna move on from that. It was just so well done. It reminds me of when I read The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones last year. It blew me away. It did something for me that like touched me inside, that made me want to pick up every book this person has written. It sounds so interesting, and I look forward to more work by Djeli Clark. And I would highly recommend, if you haven't read Ring Shout, go pick it up. It is phenomenal. It'll be, it's a nice palate cleanser too. It's very, very short. I think, what is it, 170 pages, 180 pages? You will not be disappointed. Just take your time with it, go nice and slow, and I guarantee you will have one hell of an experience that you will enjoy. that's all I'm going to say on that today. Perhaps I'll come back with more conclusions later on. I hope you're all doing well. And what are you reading these days? Do you have any new horror books that I should be looking out for? Anyway, guys, take care of yourselves, and thank you so much for coming to the corner. Bye.